Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll in advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Traded in the size, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the stack. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for another OnChain hour, and Bitcoin is sitting at 101,762 right now. This is a big change from yesterday. We saw 98, almost the low 98s, and then kind of a bounce back now. I'm thinking this is going to be really, really good for the sense of people understanding that we are in a conflict right now. Put in by our president, and we have tariffs and all this other stuff, but Bitcoin's still trading above 100K. No matter what happens in the world, Bitcoin just says, hey, I'm a 100K asset. I'm a $2 trillion asset, right? This is something that, really good. It's really good for a lot of different reasons. It's going to get bigger investors to say, that maybe it's not as volatile as we thought, right? And then we have, the S&P up today, right? We have the Dow Jones up today. We have gold up today. It seems like, we're doing really well to investors. Investors aren't scared, which is really good. And it's really good for us here in crypto because our bags aren't getting killed. We did get destroyed over the weekend, though. A lot of alts are down, but they're all bouncing back here today. Really looking forward to, July, really. But we got to get out of this area of uncertainty that we've been put in by our president. But we're going to get out of it. We're going to get out of it, guys. It's going to be good. And we're going to go over a lot of different things today. M2 money supply does seem to be deviating a little bit, but we're going to show you last year and kind of see that it did eventually catch up. So we got a lot to show you there. And Kraken potentially could be listing dog today. We're going to talk about it. But without further ado, bring my partner here as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you feeling today, bro?
Physically, I'm a bit beat down. I played in a basketball tournament this weekend and probably shouldn't have done that. I haven't played full court, like official games in like 3 years. But hey, it's good for me to burn some calories. But mentally, it wasn't feeling so great kind of ending Sunday, right? But today does feel like we are seeing a little bit of a bounce back. Bitcoin showing a little bit more strength this morning. And the alts actually bouncing back with it too. So let's see how Bitcoin handles this, right? We all knew that this was a possibility. We didn't expect it to happen on a Saturday. I'll tell you that. A lot of us expected Bitcoin to kind of range, be choppy back and forth. But once the actual bombs were flying, the market got scared. It got spooked, and so it reminds me a little bit of kind of the initial, I guess, like gut punch of the tariffs with our markets. But Bitcoin found its toughness and said, okay, look, I'm on this trajectory. This is where my goal is to get to the cycle, and it pushed through, and it shown a lot of resiliency, right? And so I feel like that's what I'm expecting to see here, but we'll know very soon. I expect in the next week and a half. And I did say we got about 2 weeks where they can kind of mess with us to finish off June, and then getting into July, I think is going to be very important.
Yeah, 100%. And you remember earlier this year when it was like every Friday was something, right? It was like I think it started off with the Chinese ChatGPT thing, whatever, the DeepSeek, and then after that it was something, and then something else. It was like 4 Fridays in a row, and we just couldn't get any relief. And I kind of feel like that again. I feel like the last 4 weeks have kind of been like that. Like right after Thursday, something happens that Friday, right? It's like, and then boom, Saturday's really bad, and then Sunday bounces back. I feel like we've been running the same script now for the last 4 weeks, and this is the same script that they played on us back in January when they're accumulating, and now they're kind of accumulating again here. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it reminds me a little bit also of that dreadful summer in 2024, where we kept ranging, from the low 70s to back down to 50, like on the opposite. We've done this swing in June. I want to say this is the third time. This time it broke down below 100, though. We can get into that further once we get into price action.
Yeah, 100%. But let's get into the main topic of today: conflict or crypto catalyst. Geopolitical risk and stablecoin clarity could spark a bull run. So let's get into the conflict first. Over the weekend, the United States did some stuff to Iran. And Iran is saying they're gonna potentially do some stuff back, and then they actually did some stuff to Israel right after that, and we're kind of stuck in this conflict that we put ourselves into. We didn't have to put ourselves into, but could this be a catalyst? Could this mark a potential bottom here at 98, and maybe time to go risk on?
It could be a catalyst because there's other whisperings about being able to create a direct trade route as well for the US, so this could help the economy with trade, but also it kind of the retaliation by Iran with Israel, that's a side thing, important, but it's a side thing. They're also trying to block the canal now, which is actually affecting China, because 20% of all the global oil supply comes out of that route, right? And if they block that, like China has already said this morning, kind of, hey, don't block that, because they rely on that more than the US does. And so that can also kind of put China at in a position to where they don't have as much leverage on the trade negotiations part, right? Because they don't want to just put it on top and just make the situation worse and worse. So, so in terms of a catalyst for price number go up, I look, the next 2 weeks to me is sit back, watch Bitcoin, watch what these market makers do, because they loved what happened this weekend. In my opinion, we saw like hundreds of millions get liquidated in the long positions, right? And I wonder, typically when there's a strong swing, it lingers a bit, but it's tricky because we'll have a bounce back day like today and be like, it's over. And this is what I think is one of the most, I don't want to say addicting, but I guess downfall for traders is they want to catch that local bottom whenever it dumps. And every time they try, they think it's over, they get liquidated again and again and again. Eventually it will wear off. But I think for me, the best move is, hey, I'm taking a step back. I'm just watching, and I'm looking at some of these alts that might be on discount.
Yeah, 100%. And I think long-term traders win here, right? The leverage guys are just going to keep getting smacked in the face. They will eventually make money, but how much money are they going to have to lose first before we get into a bull run, right? So it's kind of it's one of those things where it's you're eventually going to make money, but right now you're getting smacked. But to your point, the Binance, Bybit, all these leverage trading platforms, Hyperliquid, they're loving this right now because they're making money hand over fist. But hopefully they put that money in the altcoins and we can see some number go up. But Fred Krueger says, US bombs Iran, S&P up. It's a new world, and basically it is. We've never been in an area of trading and political mayhem to where the number goes up. Everything's pointing that this should be S&P deep having a giant dive down. Dow Jones, same thing. Gold should be up, oil should be up, but not the S&P and Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I think it's because they're the people that are probably like pundits from a geopolitical standpoint aren't counting on boots hitting the ground, and it's more of like hitting those, mission kind of started, it's over, and now like the leverage is all in the US's court, right? In Israel, I guess, whatever. I'm not going to like get deep into the political side of this, right? It's more of like why I think the market is responding the way it is. I think it's because they don't expect this to be a drawn out even 6 months to 12 months to 2 years. Some of these Middle East wars have lingered on for years and years, right? But I think they view this as more of a temporary thing, and it's going to move fast. And so a lot of people are saying 12 days. I've heard 12 days, this will be resolved. We'll see. That's obviously a very optimistic way of looking at it. But if that's the case, then I can understand why markets are responding well, because this is going to be a kind of a chess move as well for the US and how we handle this.
Yeah, 100%. Let's kind of get away from this and into some good news here. So we recently had the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve officially signed into law by Governor Abbott. So this is is it here? This is the government website, and this is it right here. Enrolled, relating to establishment administration for the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. It's in. It's live. You guys now have it. Congratulations, you being from Texas here. Let me actually share my screen. All right, so you guys in Texas. So yeah, so you guys have it. Pennsylvania beat you to putting this bill in, but you guys put it in the law first. So yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, it's interesting too. There is a fine print in that bill that says if Bitcoin gets below $600 billion in market cap, they cannot purchase anymore, right? And some people were kind of making fun of that, saying, this is pointless. I was like, well, hold on a second. Like, if it gets below 600 billion, we're all in trouble. You know what I mean? We're over 2 trillion, right? So I think this is a good first step for this, and we'll see how they can really be strategic, no pun intended there, in terms of making this work for the state, right? How are they going to utilize this? How, once Bitcoin does start to move up, whether it's Q4 this year or middle of next year, we're sitting at 250, maybe 300,000. What does that look like for the state? How are they going to leverage that to make the state better? Hopefully they do.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that $600 million Bitcoin would be 30K, like 28K.
Yeah.
I was just doing the mental math, and I mean, that would be absolutely amazing for us, because I would love to buy it that cheap. I mean, honestly, dude, like getting back. I mean, imagine. I mean, it would be terrible on the way down, right? But if you're just sitting there and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna watch it drop, and then pick, just DCA the entire time. In a few years, you're gonna be very happy with those purchases. But this is really good for Texas here, but I don't think we'll ever get to those numbers. But yeah, we will see if they can be the leader in crypto here. This is the first one to have it. They have a head start on everyone else. Can you see any other state coming in and potentially beating Texas, the reserve, at this point?
I wonder if I'm sure that the balances have to be public, right? Because it's
they have to.
State treasuries and funds and stuff, and so it's going to be interesting to see, because people are going to keep track of it, I think, what I mean? And you could see it, right? But Texas has the second largest economy in the US, and I think it's like 30 something in the world. And so there's big opportunity here if Bitcoin goes the way we all think it's going to go, right? So and that'd be cool to kind of check the state's treasury or strategic reserve balances from time to time, just to kind of see who is really accumulating and how fast they are.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so moving along here. Colin Talks Crypto. Here's my take on a global M2 money supply versus Bitcoin. So before I kind of get into what he wrote, he did post a new chart. We'll take a look at his chart first. This is his chart. Obviously, he still has Bitcoin above 200K, potentially in September, right? According to this number. But then, he's also showing this for the first. Normally, he shows this and up, and he doesn't really show this back here. So he's showing this. So this is Bitcoin in 2023. As you can see, the money supply was shooting up and Bitcoin was kind of going sideways, but they both did catch up to each other right here, and then it followed it pretty exact for a long time here. We are getting to a point now where we might see it does look similar to this right here. Bitcoin could still pull back and kind of go, off it for a little while, maybe by catching up. Do you see something like this happening here? And, if we catch up, where are we catching up at? Like 160, 170?
So he obviously is getting a lot of slack for, being so committed to the M2 supply, which, I mean, if you look at the history of the past year and a half, it's been a very strong correlation, right? But, when was that? 2023, early 2023? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. Someone had said on crypto Twitter that the M2 is like last cycle's rainbow chart. The rainbow chart was like constantly like correct and stuff like that. And I think you can get tied into the correlations that are showing to be correct. You get like committed to it because it's been loyal for a certain amount of time, right? Right now, the idea is that it is deviating, but I think it's a little unfair for this past week. No one could be able to control the geopolitical issues and conflicts that's happening, right? And so for me, the next week and a half of getting into July is going to be important. If we didn't go to 95, but we did visit 98. To me, we didn't defend the 100K mark, right? So I know Benjamin Cohen said 95 looks kind of like it's a place to attract Bitcoin, and then that would be this local bottom. If that happens, I think it happens here in the next week and a half, and then we start to rotate back up, and then we start to hit that new all-time high again in July. But one thing I just want to say, because this is for myself too, to remind myself, is don't jump the gun with it though. Even though I do believe that, I believe in the next week and a half, if we do visit that price level, it's going to be during that time frame, and maybe try to get a lot of or like some really greatly priced assets at that level. But like right now, for me, the problem that I've had in the past is trying to get that, thinking this is the local bottom after like a major event. And I think a lot of times market makers take advantage of events like this, and they trick you, kind of making you feel like, okay, we're just going to bounce right back. And it lingers for a week or so to kind of go through the negative sentiment, because we haven't really had a stretch of negative sentiment for a while, since I would say early April, late March. And so we might have this week and a half of just kind of negative sentiment a bit, and then kind of get back on track. But that's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. And I still feel like it's not broken yet. If it breaks below 95, I've said that before, probably will deviate myself.
Yeah, it does look like this a little bit, right? Like Bitcoin's price looked like it was deviating and then back up. It looked like it was deviating and then back up, right? So we saw 3 separate times, right? We could potentially do something like this. We could just bounce back up now, and then fake it back up, fake back up. So we could eventually be up here. It just might be a little bit of a couple fake outs before we get up there, or I mean, it's one or the other, right? Either we're gonna do this or we're gonna do this, and hoping we see this, but this wouldn't surprise me. But we will eventually catch up, so, and it has to happen, in my opinion, this year for sure. So, but we'll see. I mean, 200K by December on, how we get there is how we get there. But I do think it happens sooner than later.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Let's kind of go into what Colin says, though. He says global M2. Let me bring it up over here. So easier. All right. It says global M2 has been fairly tightly correlated with the BTC since December 2023. That's about 1.5 years. That's a long time. The rule I've observed is 80% correlation and 20% non-correlation. I've been saying this for a long time, even though nobody wants to hear it. It's possible we're due for and now in a larger non-correlated period. How long could it last? If you consider that the past 1.5 years has been fairly strongly correlated, and the above statistic that 20% of the time Bitcoin can be non-correlated, that gives us a potential of up to 3.6 months of non-correlation. We're already about a month in. So that would leave us to 2.6 months. Now, it doesn't have to last that long, but within the bounds of math. Of course, no one wants to see a non-correlated periods, but it would be silly to pretend like there's 100% correlation when there's not. So he's basically saying that, you know, if we do last, it usually only lasts about 3 months. And he said we're technically in the first month, so we could go all the way till September before we start to bounce back up, before we get something like there. But he said it doesn't have to be like this, right? But it can be.
Yeah. I mean, no. First of all, no indicator is going to be 100% perfect, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that that's kind of what he's getting at here, and he's saying that we might be in that 20% of the time. But I do look at this correlation period different than 2023, just because we weren't technically officially in what was supposedly, supposed to be that bull run start, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't start really, the halving year is what kicks it off, and then, so this was a year prior. But yeah, so look, the next week and a half to me is the most important time for this chart, because I think it's going to let me know personally, how well does Bitcoin get through this, kind of a soft black swan event that happened. I feel like it's a soft one because it didn't continue crashing hard, right?
Yeah.
But if it kind of slowly starts to rebound, we get back to 104, 105 with, by the end of the next week and a half, with like positive sentiment. I think Bitcoin that's Bitcoin getting through it.
Yeah. And I was talking to ChatGPT about like a black swan, and it said war is not considered a black swan because it happens so often. And I was like, damn, you might be right about that. So, I mean, unless something does happen, like a nuke going off or something, that would be a black swan.
Well,
because it's never happened before, right? So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully you won't get a black swan. But yeah, it sucks that war isn't a black swan. It should be, but it's a little annoying. So I'm going to show Colin's other post here. He said altcoins, aka Total 3, in TradingView. Total 3 is defined by crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Green box. So he's basically saying here, buy more alts with USD. So we've entered. Well, we just walked into potential a buy zone, right? This is what he's calling his buy zone. And we walked in. He said he bought some, and then we kind of immediately bounced back out of that. So again, this is the crypto Total 3 minus everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, and could be something you look into too about showing them the charts. This is a pretty big one, but yeah, he's saying buy more alts with USD as we enter this zone here. But it wasn't long. It wasn't long in that zone for sure. And then I want to show this too. He said, for me, I guess he was replying to somebody up here. Said, for me, it's Doge, Pepe, and Dog. Colin is officially a member of the Dog. He said he's had it for about 6 months, but this is the first time he's really gone public with it, in my opinion. But look at these: Doge, Pepe, Dog. Doge is on Robinhood. Pepe is on Robinhood. Can we see Dog on Robinhood?
Pepe's on Robinhood?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So as soon as I saw this, I sent you the DM because I was like, oh, we got Colin on board with the Dog army. I was actually really ecstatic because, Colin has a pretty solid account. He's got 74,000 followers. He understands the value of Bitcoin and, what that looks like. And so for him to put that in there, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it from him. But it also lets people that, are respected and pretty smart in the space are starting to come on board to this Dog narrative, right, without having to entice them or push them to it, because this was like him voluntarily telling everybody the 3 memes that I'm in are a Doge, Pepe, and Dog. So that made me instantly bullish. Not just Colin, but like you said, other large people that have been in the space with the experience. They're realizing that this Dog movement, from a social perspective, is going to help the overall community growth and market cap growth in the long run. And I think that's why you put that in there.
Yeah, 100% agree. That was the most bullish thing I've seen, though, to see Doge, right? And then and Pepe, and then Dog, because Doge and Pepe are all listed. They're all listed on Binance. They're all listed on Robinhood. They're all listed on Coinbase. Dog is not listed anywhere. Dog has so many more catalysts than any of the tokens the other 2 tokens that he named. So I'm really, really bullish on Dog, and I think that next cycle you're going to see Dog listed on all those exchanges. I think it happens this cycle. So really excited. So the next thing here, Miles Deutscher says, I think there's a local bottom soon, then bounce, squeeze early mid next week. So he posted this June 22nd, which is yesterday around 10 o'clock. So he was right. I just wanted to point that out first. And he said, you know, we have a bottom right now of about 98.8, I think it is. We'll get that confirmed later. And then he's thinking that the market chops for some time. But he sees a squeeze early next week first. So I'm excited. I think he's right with this.
Yeah, so this is kind of my hopeful thesis, right? Then that's why I said a week and a half, we get into July. And at that point, you know, Bitcoin can really prove that, hey, look, I moved through this negative news cycle or whatever with the conflict and all these things. I'm still formidable, still, you know, bulldozing through to the goals of getting to new all-time highs and things like that. And we're going to either see if that happens or not here in the next week and a half. But I think it's important to pay attention to Bitcoin because we've seen it push through the tariff situation with the help of the M2 global supply, but that help is still there. Remember, that help is still there. So we'll see if it continues and gets back on track.
100%. So I have this clip here I just want to share. This is Raoul Pal. He says that this cycle mirrors 2017 and could peak in June of 2026. AI, ETFs, and liquidity may drive the crypto from 3 trillion to 100 trillion. God. So think about that for a second. That means Bitcoin's dominance is in the teens, right? Let's just say Bitcoin gets to 7 trillion, right? That puts Bitcoin's dominance at like between 7 and 10%. I mean, that's lower than my math. You know what I mean? Think about that. At $7 trillion, Bitcoin is around 400K. At 10 trillion, Bitcoin is at 700K. So let's say Bitcoin gets to 700K. I mean, it is still 10%. Like the dominance is at 10%. Like that would be insane. But let's just hear him say it. Let me know if you can hear this.
Forms of compute and all the other things that are coming. So I just thought it was interesting because everyone's like, oh my God, it's a super cycle because of this. I'm starting to err towards, well, we talked about this before, a longer cycle, just because the business cycle is still below 50. So generally it takes a while to climb up. And then we use the GMI Financial Conditions Index, and that has a 9-month lead. And with the dollar breaking down even today, it's starting to suggest that this may go even into Q2 2026. So it's like the whole cycle got shifted because rates didn't get adjusted and the dollar was sideways for a period of time. So it feels that potentially there is a chance, and again, there's no guarantees in this world, that we're more like 2020 than we are in 2021. Or it's it's spookily similar to 2017 for me. The sovereign wealth.
What did you think about that? Do you think that's possible? Do you think the cycle kind of shifted and we're technically in 2020?
What he said about rates and the dollar made complete sense. You know, so in that aspect, I have to agree with him. There could have been just kind of a shift, you know, forward delayed in terms of the euphoria parts of the market, right? The bull market. But, you know, there's a lot of pundits and analysts and things right now that are just really having to tweak a little bit of their, you know, because he said we were in the banana zone for a while, and it's nothing about, you know, them being wrong or right or this and that. You have to adjust when you're in any cycle, I think, a little bit, because no cycle is going to be exactly like the previous, but especially when there's a lot of different variables that enter into the cycle. And I think that's what's happening for this cycle. And so a lot of these people that are pretty on point with their thesis and forecasts, they're having to not pivot necessarily, but adjust a bit. And I think that's what's happening here. And it makes sense what he said, right? But you know, that means extending to Q2 of next year, and then maybe going into a bearish, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a bearish cycle afterwards. But there's a lot of people that think that we don't see the same type of bear markets that we saw before. So I don't know what to think of that, because this is new. And for me, I had my most experience last cycle. Before that, I had some experience in 2017. But and so for me, it's just like, this is so much different than both of those, even though there's the similarities of timing. It's just more of the players this time is different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree that this time is definitely different in the sense of, you know, what could happen. But I mean, what if we're just in 2020? I mean, it kind of feels that way, right? So if we're in 2020, right, let's just say that the market got shifted by, you know, the Trump pump and everything. That means something's going to happen June and August, September, October, maybe a little bit November bearish, and then December, January, March, and April are just up only.
Yeah. I'll tell you what,
Oh.
the alt market definitely feels like 2020.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel anything close to 2021. Bitcoin's a little different, but I think it's because the world has accepted Bitcoin to be truth. And, you know, this is probably the first cycle that the entire world has accepted that from nation states and huge entities, the banking institutions, everything. So that's probably why Bitcoin's thriving more. But from the alt market, it's 2020 all day.
Yeah. 100%. And maybe like ETH is the new Bitcoin in the sense of that, right? ETH still it's like, let's just pretend
prove
Bitcoin
itself.
doesn't exist. ETH has to prove itself first before we can kind of push forward. So we'll see. But jump to the next thing here. So I want to put this out first. Adam Back says treasury season is the new alt season for speculators. Time to dump your alts into Bitcoin or BTC. So let's kind of go. I have a bunch of stuff here. I'm gonna jump through these real quick, and then I want to get your opinion on his comments. So Sailor adds another 245 Bitcoin for 26 million at 105K each. Now holds 592,000 Bitcoin. Metaplanet has acquired 1,111 Bitcoin for 118 million. Now holds 11,111. And at an average price of 95,869. Does seem like they're buying 1111 and now have 1111. I don't know, but it does seem like they're buying, right? So Anthony Popliano announces a $1 billion merger to launch ProCap Financial, a Bitcoin native financial firm going public via CCM SPAC with a $750 million raise for the Bitcoin treasury. Not done yet. 5.1 billion real estate investment firm Cardone Capital buys 1,000 Bitcoin in a new treasury strategy, blending property and crypto with plans to add 3,000 more this year. David Bailey, Nakamoto, and Kindly MD raise a Bitcoin treasury, target 763 million with a new pipe fund. Doesn't end there. Sequans unveils 384 million Bitcoin treasury plan. Sequans is a Paris-based fabless semiconductor firm specializing in 4G, 5G chips. So I just went through 6 different companies right now that are either planning to do a Bitcoin treasury or have one. And then you have Adam Back saying treasury season is a new alt season.
For speculators, yeah. So there's 2 sides of the coin here when it comes to conversation in 2 different groups. I'm hearing a lot of people on one side say that the treasury companies are going to be the ones that capitulate, and but we're just getting started. They're just getting started, and that's not even counting any of the strategic reserve states that are going to get on board as well, right? So I have to think that initially, okay, I agree that is a scary risk that could happen in the mid future, maybe talking about like 2 years down the road, I think, right? If they get over leveraged in all these situations, especially if they try to use their reserves for more, try to do the top, just keep adding more by, you get what I'm saying. But then I think about the supply and demand aspect, and I think a lot of these people, like David Bailey, right? They don't want to necessarily sell their Bitcoin, right? They want to hold this Bitcoin because they feel like they believe where it's going. Now, I know they're not stupid people, so there's probably going to be some sort of profit type of strategy within it. I don't know what that's going to look like.
It seems like the yield is the profit strategy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that the yield has to be very carefully handled and thought about in terms of like maybe even three different categories of the yield. You have the really risky Bitcoin yield, you have the medium risky, and you have the small, like little risk, right? But the problem is that there's a lot of people that get greedy and they just start to overload on the highly risky yield. That could unbalance, leave that whole yield market unbalanced, right? And could affect Bitcoin down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe this is something also that the CFTC should get involved in terms of like, hey, look, if you're in a US company and you're going to be participating in this, we got to see that like this is going to look good. You know what I mean? Or the SEC, or maybe like a collaboration of both. Because the last thing that we need is for Bitcoin to tumble because of treasury companies. You know, yes, it's going to help in the beginning, but if it's, you know, you pull that one little rock, it's like, what's it called? Jenga, right? You pull out that one little stick and it all crumbles. And we'll see what this turns into.
So I don't think it's these treasury companies that go down. I think the treasury companies that come in and buy Bitcoin at 400K, 500K, 600K, they're the ones that go down, right? I think everyone getting in now at 100K is going to be very safe. I truly believe Bitcoin's going to hit 700K in the next, 12 months in that time period somewhere. So I think these ones are going to be completely okay. But the next set, the people who come in too late, they're the ones that are going to get wrecked. And I do think that is the reason for the catalyst of a bear market. But I still,
the swan.
I think we have the black. Well, I wouldn't call it black swan event. I would just think that over
catalyst
leverage
is up.
Well, I'm just saying, like, over leverage is going to be. I think the catalyst for over leveraging is going to be number go up, right? So, and I think that is going to be kind of the push that drops us down for the next 6 months after that. So I think we have 6 months of up, and then potentially 6 months of just over leveraging, right? And then probably a year from now we see a black swan or something happens to where Bitcoin drops back into like 300K, right? I'm talking like 700K to 300K. Like that's the next dip.
Yeah, so in that case, these early adopters will still be okay. Getting in at between 1 to 150, that range starting. There's gonna be a lot of people that get rich from this. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a ton. I think it's gonna be the Bitcoin treasury markets, and it's gonna be stablecoin markets. But stablecoin is going to obviously be more institutional, and the treasury is going to have institutions as well, obviously involved with it. But you can have some pretty good sized whales that are retail whales that will benefit and make out like a bandit as well, especially if they get in early to these companies. But it's something to keep your mind on, just kind of in the back of your mind of like, okay, what is that, treasury market look like? How much are they over leveraged or not over leveraged or whatever, right? And I, because at the end of the day, if you look at TradFi, there's big, huge entities that work together to make sure that it doesn't collapse, right? Like the options markets, all these markets, they're pulling the strings because they know it's almost kind of like this. It's like they are gonna hide anything that looks bad to spook retail users in TradFi. You know what I mean? And so behind the scenes, they'll pull all the strings and stuff, make sure that it's okay. We save people, push this here, but it's like a puzzle. But like here, a lot of it's on chain, and then you can kind of verify. So it's going to be interesting to see how this happens. But I do think there's going to be a situation like that because BlackRock doesn't want Bitcoin to, tumble down to 30,000. You know what I mean? Obviously, that would, going from your comparison, it'd be like 700,000 to 300,000. They still wouldn't want that to happen, especially if their clients are still buying in at 400 or 500.
Well, 600. They do want it to happen if they're short clients to sell at 700K and short the number, right?
Yeah.
So they'd be like, hey, we made you a 7x here. We're advising you guys to take profit, and then we'll buy back at 300K. That is the ultimate BlackRock plan. I mean, this is something they've done for years with gold and oil and so on, right? Especially with bigger companies as well, like Nvidia. Like they're probably advising their company when Nvidia was number one. Hey, let's take profit here. This is the smartest people in the world, right? So they're always going to make out. But let's jump into the crypto fear and greed here. Ooh, this is bad. So last week we were at a 51. Yesterday we were at 40. We're my hint for you, we're not far from that 40, but we are lower.
38.
Pretty much right there, 37. So I don't feel 30. I don't feel 30. I actually am 37, but I don't feel 37 in the sense of sitting here in the sense of fear. I'm not fearful right now. If anything, I'd be more neutral, if not a little bit green here. But what do you think? Do you think tonight we get back in the 40s or maybe even low 50s?
Oh, it's going to be a hard one, man, to guess because I understand why it's 37. It's 37 because we touched 98 1,000 yesterday, right?
Yeah,
And so to me, I think that's a fair assessment in terms of sentiment. But like, I think it's too early for me to say we're gonna just jump back today. You know, like we're ranging now between 101 and 102,000. And for me, I need a little bit more time for things to have like calmed down. And I think that's a good self kind of practice as well. It's like, you know, take a step back, look at the markets, but take a step back and, you know, don't make any type of emotional decisions because you feel like, oh my gosh, it's like it's getting bullish again, you know, because I feel like that's where people can get really wrecked and in trouble is thinking that they found the local bottom when that event actually happened on Saturday, right? But it feels like that event happened like a week ago, right?
Yeah.
So talking about Saturday, Sunday, we're here on Monday, it's 3 days ago, right? So for me, I need at least another week of even if the price goes up. If the price goes up, I need another week of letting the market kind of accept what happened on Saturday, and then like whatever the market makers do with the price this week, they do, and then kind of have a week to reset, and let's see what happens at the start of next week. So that's my perspective and how I'm going to look at it. But I mean, it looks like there's a bounce back this morning, right? And we'll see if this momentum continues.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm feeling real comfortable over 100K. I think we did touch, and I think it's, but that was a low liquidity period. Like, I feel like this stuff only happens on the weekends when there's the big boys aren't playing, right? They can't play because you can't buy ETFs on the weekends. But yeah, we'll see. But let's jump into the Bitcoin price action and see exactly where we're at. Bitcoin price action is brought to you guys by Artura. Artura is building something truly special in my eyes. They're building potentially the next Hyperliquid. They're building on two Bitcoin layered L2s. The first one being Hemi. Hemi is backed by Binance. Potentially, they're going to be a Hemi airdrop because, but usually, you know, companies backed by Binance usually has a token. So when you're using Artura.finance on Hemi, you potentially could get an airdrop of not only the ARA token for you getting the points of Artura, but also the Hemi token as well. But not only will they be launching on Hemi, they'll be also launching on the Spider chain. Yes, Botonics. Botonics is looked at as one of the top L2s that is coming out. And they are saying they are not going to have a token, but they're going to incentivize the token in other ways. There's a lot of different rumors on how they're going to do that, but by using Artura.finance, you will be getting the ARA airdrop and potential incentives from Botonics. I highly recommend you guys use both of those when they drop and, you know, earn the ARA token, earn those points. But check out everything at Artura.finance.
Yes, sir. But before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, help us out on the YouTube side. Smash that like, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, let's share the space, guys. Let's get people in here. Let's educate as many people as possible on board, as many people as possible to our industry. Same thing with the abstract side, guys. If you could help us out there, we'd greatly appreciate it. Let's jump into some Bitcoin price action. Cheer. All right, let's take a look. All right. Is that? I think that's yours. Yeah, there we go. Let me share mine. Okay, cool. So we are back to the hour chart. We did have a pretty good rise up, you know, starting at Sunday, 2 p.m. Central, kind of found that bottom. It wicked all the way down to 98,200. That didn't feel good when I saw that. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, you know, because the $100,000 mark to me was like, had to be really defended, you know, really strong. Again, there was an event on Saturday that was, you know, made everything start to crash. So I'll kind of see how it responds from there. But since then, it has been kind of an up only trend, but it's been a bit weak. You know, getting back to 101.7 was, you know, really strong. We got back to 102.600. But let's take a look here at these hour indicators, right? So we can see that this uptrend has started. Let's see if we go sideways here. You can see like the Bollinger Band opened up whenever it started to dump, and it kind of stayed open because it reversed back up. Now I imagine we'll probably go a bit sideways here, find some footing. But it looks like on the hour chart, the MACD looks like it's starting to be exhausted. It's starting to show that it wants to head back down. Same thing with the stochastics. It looks like it wants to head back down as well. Let's take a look at the local support and resistance on the hour chart here. Let's see here. This is going back to Sunday at 8 p.m. Let's kind of squeeze it in even more here. We're going to use data from 3 a.m. today. Okay, so this is a lot more localized. You can see at the level we're at right now, 101,600. Just very lopsided on the resistance side. Right below that, we do have some support that caught up. We're about balanced there at 101,550. Above that, we're almost balanced there. It is a little bit favoring the resistance, but in this area that we're at right here, man, we got a lot of catching up to do to get out of this. But again, we are showing that, you know, the MACD wants to bring the price down. So I'm figuring that we'll probably have a slow chop with the downtrend. Sometimes what happens whenever there's like a negative sentiment event, you'll see that huge strong bleed down that we saw Saturday night, along with parts of Sunday, and then a cool off period with some hopium kind of brought back in the price, and then we revisit those bleed out. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, looking for this week, right? Starting today and tomorrow, to see if we get those strong pushes back down. So I'm definitely going to be very careful, but in terms of the hour chart, it does look like it wants to take us down further. We'll see how aggressive that downtrend kind of reversal goes, right? I could be wrong. Maybe it stalls and it does chop. I'm hoping that's the case. We'll see. On the 4-hour chart here, bringing up the 4-hour, let's take a look here. So, I mean, the 4-hour just looks so nasty, but you look at this, right, and you see all this sell pressure happen, and this was a really tricky area right here, because, you know, if you're matching up your 4-hour time frame, which 4-hour I feel like is one of the more popular time frames, with some other time frames, like let's say you match it up with the hour for entry, and then the 15-minute, right, to get in, and then the 4-hour looks good, it's matching up with the hour. You can even bring in the 8-hour, 12-hour as well, go to the daily, and it looked like this could have been a good entry point, and it just got completely wrecked because of the news, right? So that's what people probably get for trading on a Saturday anyways, because like Saturday is kind of like a scalp day. You're not really gonna, you know, if your thesis is right, you're probably not gonna get a big win. It looks like most people got a big loss that day anyhow, but you didn't have much like recovery. You haven't had much recovery, right? You just had this big sell down. So we'll see how this starts to play out. It's looking weak so far, but we'll see. This is the start of possibly a rebound, but we'll see if it's a fake out to the upside and more downside to come. And then let's take a look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart is starting to really close up on the bullish side, guys. No shock there after this weekend. You know, we had a pretty big red candle to end the week comparative to the previous red candles, right? But again, I go back to this period here, right, where we had something similar, and then you look at the MACD here on the weekly, and it looked exhausted, like we were going to go into sell pressure, and it got revived. So this is something that could very well play out, especially if the, you know, my original thesis of us getting between 120 and 130 at some point in July happens. I believe this happens, something similar to this right here, you know, having a little bit of a break in between and then popping back up. We'll see how Bitcoin reacts to the negative, you know, conflict news, and if it can kind of bulldoze and push through, kind of like what it did for the tariffs, then I do expect something like this. But if it continues down, you know, sharply and aggressively, and we actually go into sell pressure on the MACD, then might have to, you know, could really consider that non-correlation 20% period that Colin was talking about, right? But yeah, still kind of paying attention to the weekly to see if there's going to be a rebound this week. Is going to be important to see how this candle ends on Sunday. But yeah, that's what I'll be paying attention to on the Bitcoin side. The others, we're getting the same thing. It's, you know, very similar breakdown of what I said, because the others is going to be tailing Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, and Ethereum's just following what Bitcoin does right now. It does feel very similar to that 2020 period where, you know, Ethereum hadn't really taken off yet and done its own thing. But when it does, hopefully it does act like Ethereum during that cycle, because Ethereum did get hyper aggressive at one point. So the others, kind of the same thing, guys. We'll see how this week ends, but it's going to be a delayed reaction to what Bitcoin does. So that's the others chart, and the others is everything besides Bitcoin in the top 10. Let's take a look at the crypto bubbles. Looks good. This is actually the only positive aesthetically looking thing here. We see a lot of green for the alt market here. You know, so we'll see if this continues. Fartcoin's a positive of 4.1% increase there. You see Hyperliquid rebounding by 6% there. Is this Sonic?
Yeah, it's Sonic. Yeah,
There,
dude, it was getting wrecked, dude.
Yeah,
back.
I don't like their logo. I want them to change that. But it's not up to me. Not up to me. Jupiter, well, they're up today, 13.6% because they probably, like you mentioned, they got wrecked pretty hard before.
Yeah.
Pepe up 4.2%. So the memes are bouncing back. Shib up 5.3%. You see some utility stuff here. You see Stacks up 5.1%. Solana up 3.5%.
This looks so good, dude.
I know it doesn't feel like it's reflective though, but that's just how bad Saturday and Sunday were, right? If you look at that, because you don't want me to pull up the week, man. The week is not
good. Let's just take a look real quick.
Oh god.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. Oh,
yeah.
Seeing a lot of 20s in there, bro. That's crazy. That's scary.
Exactly.
Go
exactly.
away. Let's go back to green.
All right. So let's check out the top 100 through 200 here. You see some stuff. Our guy Casey Johnson thriving today, at least. ZBCN up 24.3. Mog up a whopping 20.3%. Interesting. What else is in here? Turbo up 9.2%. Pangu up 8%. Pangu was actually they did a marketing thing with Van Eck, man. It was funny. They had like a mascot, like it was like a Disney World mascot with their Van Eck team. Dog up 4.5%. Good to see the dog army, you know, still at it on X, and I would say continue what you're doing, guys. People are noticing. Starknet up a 6.7%. Peanut up 6.7%. We got Maple up 13%. Yeah, so on the daily, it looks good. Let's see if we can continue this, you know, for the rest of the week.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, let's jump into the next thing here, which we do every single day, called Roll Call. We kind of see who is first on this show. First means everything. And Lackey Luke, congratulations to you, man. You're first. You actually have your 28th win of the year. Congratulations. So, guys, every single day I just track whoever was first in the comments on YouTube. So it has to be YouTube because that is where it goes live. And Lackey Lukey, my man, is sitting there at 28. So congratulations to you. WebDro, Danny Boy still in second, and then WebDro is in third, and then ASAP Benji in fourth. So this is you know, a lot of time left, guys. We have over 100 something days left in this year, and I think more than that. I think like 165 days left in the year. So this is anyone's game still. Even if you have 0 wins, still you want to make the list. Make the list. Get one in here. We're gonna do something special for everyone who makes this list. So definitely want to make this list, but appreciate you guys and what you guys do for the show 100%. Lackey Lukey, ASAP Benji, then we have Mats is here, Valhalla awaits, and then Danny Boy says go Pacers. Yeah, they lost though, right? That was right before the game. Halliburton went down an ACL tear, and then what's up? Achilles. Yeah. So it was Tatum, what, 3 weeks ago, and now we see Halliburton.
It was non-contact too, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy,
wild. Who knows what would happen if that wouldn't have happened in that game? But Lackey Lukey again, WebDro says DCA feels much better after dips recover. Yes, 100%, man. 1+ says got liquidated, 8 burritos, became the catalyst. I love that. Lackey Lukey says thanks, WebDro. Bitcoin is truth is here. Abstract says war makes number go up. Apparently, Chips and Dip is here. Satoshi Nakamoto. Spindrift says Shizzy and Yagobi. What's up, guys? Vader Time says sideways day, sideways summer. K99 is here. And then my guy, Hydro Sapien, GM. Let's go. It's he said dog is king. Appreciate you, my friend. He's the OnChain Revolution delivers the alpha every day. Appreciate you, man. Chief Axel is here. My guy, appreciate you, my friend. 5 by Nighthawk says GM fellas, the world's coming to an end, but we still have each other. I feel like that's a sad song. Ashley Nicole is here. Thank you so much for stopping in. Appreciate you. Stan says, which is further along in achieving objectives, DeFi or AI? Thanks. That's a tough question because DeFi is over 4 years old and AI crypto anyway is less than a year old. I want to say probably like August of 2020.
Well, they work together. So if crypto AI advances, that's DeFi advancing as well, because now you have assisted DeFi, like, you know what I mean? You have AI DeFi. So I don't know if you're talking about completely separate sectors like AI outside of crypto, but you know, I think they work hand in hand, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. Yep. I mean, answer this question of DeFi is further along, right? I mean, right now.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, like the new advancements, I feel like, of DeFi innovation is going to come through AI.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but like to answer the question right now, like DeFi, I mean, there's
more established.
Like, you know, there's $250 million in TVL, right? So, I mean, that's AI. I mean, there's probably like
50 billion.
Yeah, 250. Yeah, 250 billion in yeah, 100%. And then AI, I mean, there's probably only like 15.
I don't even know. Yeah,
150 million, maybe. Like to answer your question, DeFi is way further along AI, but AI is where DeFi was 4 years ago. So who's going to win the race from here? AI could potentially, outshift DeFi and just, well, they're two different things though, too. I don't know. It's a tough question. All right. Let's try and jump in back into something else as we wait for our guest here. So, Arthur Hayes says Bitcoin's dip below 100K is just money printers revving up their patriotic duty. So this was pretty funny to see. Arthur Hayes has been somebody who, is called. He called the dip last time, the 78K, and then he longed it, and now he's saying that this isn't a dip. This is just money printers getting ready to print more money. What do you think about Arthur Hayes' comments here?
Well, I hope he's right again. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I hope he's right again.
100%. Ethereum whales scooped up over 116,000 ETH, or 265 million during the price dip on June 21st. So that was Saturday. Dude, think about that for a second. ETH whales. These are the whales, the guys who already hold a ton of ETH coming into the market and basically buying this dip that we've seen on the 21st here. And you can see mega whale net positions change. So you can see they were super high, then they're super low, and they're super high again. It does look like they're accumulating again here, especially over the last week or so. So we should be popping here. I mean, for Ethereum, the whales are saying it's buy time.
Yeah, they've been saying that for a couple of months now.
Well,
they've been acquiring.
Technically, I mean, they would buy and potentially holding up here, so they definitely sold, right?
Yeah,
and then they're accumulating again. So it sold at 26, buy back at 22. It seems like a win to me.
Yeah.
Polymarket users predict a 42% chance Bitcoin will hit 95K and below this month. So this month only has about 7 days left in it. Polymarket predicting a 42% chance of 95. Are you going to jump on Polymarket and take that other side of that bet and say no chance, or do you think we could?
I think I feel exactly like that though. Like that's not majority. You know what I mean? So 42% is like exactly how I'm probably a little, maybe I don't know. Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on, man. In terms of like my sentiment is like, there's a chance that it does, but probably more chance that it doesn't, right? Because I feel like, and if it does, it's maybe 96, 97. We'll see what happens. We could turn things around, depending on how Bitcoin reacts this week. So like you said, we got seven days left in this month. That's not long, but they got 7 days, I feel like, to really kind of mess with the traders.
If you're sitting here, right, you're seeing these odds, and let's just say you have $1,000 that you want to play, which one are you taking? Are you taking the conservative 95K, or are you taking the 115? I think these two are kind of like the only options. I guess 90K you could potentially take as well.
Wow, man, that would be disastrous in my opinion.
Yeah, it would.
But it could be a quick 90K, I guess. 60,000. Someone bet 60,000. That's crazy.
1%.
Yeah.
So that's just lottery ticket, right? So
yeah, I don't know, man. So it's actually 28%, not 42.
Well, that was a one-off thing. Will it hit a 95K, 42% said
Oh,
yes. This
okay,
is something
gotcha.
different. So this is just
Different
another
options.
one. What price will Bitcoin hit in June? It's another chart here. So 28. I was just curious of what you think what was going to happen. Do you think 115? I think 115 is more possible than 95.
No,
Especially if the dip got pulled up so quickly.
For June, I don't know, man. Like I feel like for the rest of this month, it's gonna be a little shaky. So honestly, if I had to pick, I would probably pick the 95K for the rest of June, just because that we got 7 days left. But remember, like Bitcoin can be volatile, right? So like it hits 95, people are gonna be crying, they're gonna be talking about all these things, right? And then like 3 days later, it could be back at 105. You know what I mean? Or whatever. So to me, it's not a big deal if it hits 95. I think it would start becoming a big deal if it hit 90.
I'm in the camp though. I think the bottom's in at 98. I think we're gonna hit. I think there's a lot of potential catalysts that are ahead of us right now. We got potentially Iran and Israel in a coming to terms. Boom. We could shoot up from there. We got you got to remember July 1st is tariff day. Right, we potentially could have a couple deals being made between China, Mexico, Canada. I think the UK we already have a deal with UK, but there's 7 days left to make deals with these countries before July 1st's deadline. So I think we could have potential catalyst after catalyst after catalyst, and could take us to all-time high in the next 7 days. I truly believe that. So I believe that over hitting 95, in my opinion. But there could be something that takes us down though, which is potential Iran declaring war on the US or something, right? So I mean, I guess so. But it's all headline. Bitcoin is so headline driven at this point that you're just kind of waiting for the next headline. So
yeah.
Does our guy have that link?
Yeah, I sent it over to him.
Cool. All right, the last thing before we get into Merlin Monday, Circle flips USDC in market cap. So Circle is a publicly traded company. USDC is a coin. So all the USDC in circulation is equivalent to the Circle market cap now. So you're seeing market cap at 62 billion, and the fully diluted market cap of Circle's USDC is 61. This is something that a lot of people are talking about that's going to happen, and Circle officially flipped it.
Circle flips USDC. Oh, you're talking about the public company.
Yeah.
What's the market cap of USDC? 60.
I just went all over it, but it's cool.
Sorry.
The market cap is 61.3, and then yeah. So
62. Oh, so it's barely over it.
Yeah. Well, people are saying that this will be the top for Circle. That's what they're all saying. This is like it needs to flip the coin itself, and it has.
Yeah.
So
there's gonna be people taking profit for sure. Institutions and probably retail, I imagine.
Yep. All right, guys, it is officially Monday at 12 o'clock, and every Monday at 12 o'clock, we have our good friends over on Merlin come on the show and kind of talk about what they're building. So Merlin Chain, they're making Bitcoin fun again, and on top of that, they are bringing AI into crypto. Very strong. If you go over to merlinchain.io, you can mess with the wizard. I was messing with him like over the weekend, and just kind of you can do some pretty cool stuff with them, swapping, staking, and stuff like that. But Merlin Chain actually has a huge announcement today, and we'll let Jeff get into that. So without further ado, let's bring in Jeff. Jeff, welcome back to OnChain Revolution.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, just finished some work here, and good Monday. Good Merlin, and
good Merlin.
Good Merlin. Yeah. Last week we had you on, and we talked about the sentiment of the markets, and you were kind of like, well, it feels good, but we don't know how the rest of the summer is going to play out. And then last weekend happened, right? So are you still in the mindset of a positive kind of sentiment, a chance for it, at least for the rest of the summer? Or do you feel like we're going to kind of swing back and have to be a little bit dormant with like the cryptos, the market?
Yeah, this is always like a tricky question, and people hate this kind of answers because whoever answer that always give two sides of opinions. So I actually talked to two traders today. One is a big trader, a solo trader who trades Bitcoin for over 10 years. He really think for the next few weeks Bitcoin will not be strong because it already down to the breakthrough point, and it takes longer time to heal. And I also talked to another a trading company. I cannot say the name, but I think they are like one of the biggest, at least like top 3 in US. The founder of that trading firm, and he said he did expect June to be a slow month, but he thinks Q3 will be better. So it's always two sides of opinions. But I think the people will be comfortable with holding Bitcoin, because even Bitcoin dropped, how much can it drop to like 90k, 80k? It's not that bad, because 80k is still better than last year. At the same time, if you consider this as a long-term investment, that's good. That's why we shipped the BTC staking. And if you are a holder of altcoin like Ethereum or Merl, sometimes it's gonna be harder to be honest. I mean, whoever holds altcoin today, it's gonna be very hard. Even like I'm suffering because this never happens before, because before like previous cycles, it's always BTC dominance goes up and then goes down, and all the other altcoins go up. It's something like we are familiar with. But this time we have been waiting for 2 years, and it's always Bitcoin goes up and everything just doesn't go up.
Yeah, 100%. And we have Raoul Pal. He came out with some words. He's basically said that he thinks that we're in basically the summer of 2020, equivalent to last cycle, which he basically saying that he thinks the peak will be June of 2026. Do you think that we could potentially be in there? I mean, we could be a catalyst for the summer, something like DeFi summer, and then potentially really not really move until January, February, March, April, and having like that alt season?
I really don't know because I think this time is different. It's like unpredictable. I think Bitcoin is kind of predictable because you can see all these big guys, institutions, countries holding Bitcoin. But for all season, you always need some narrative. That's what I always say, because the market, people get FOMO because of the new narrative. People are super hyped about AI memes. Before it's like metaverse, NFT. I think if the narrative comes, everything will be good. Like when we have ordinals in 2023 in February. I mean, not in February, but most people know about ordinals in February and March. And that slowly cooks, and we have a small bull run in May, and then we have huge bull run in December. So you need the narrative comes first, and then goes with it. Like Pepe did in 2023, and then in 2024 we have WIF, we have Bunk, and then we have all these other memes. So I don't think timing matters. What matters to me is like what day we see something really special like ordinals. And even it's a bear market, I think we're happy with it because we catches the most important narrative when it's cheap.
Yeah. Well, do you think the Bitcoin ecosystem could be that narrative in terms of like there's like 3 different sectors I talked about earlier today? You have like the layer 1 projects, you have investment there. You have the kind of like these guys trying to do this like hybrid with Arch and Middle kind of 1.2, and then they have their different products and investment there. And then you have the Bitcoin layer 2, like you guys, and the whole ecosystem there with investment that's going in there. So a cumulative, and that's not even talking about the other layer 1s that are trying to act like layer 2s, Cardano, Near, ICP. So there's like this big kind of broad overall Bitcoin ecosystem, and you have BTC-Fi as well. So could that be kind of carry over to once liquidity comes in, risk on and stuff? Could that be that main narrative?
I hope so, but I think what matters is like how much attention it drives outside of the little circle. Like right now, like when I joined this meeting, you guys are talking about Circle, right? In Asia, people are talking about stablecoins. Everyone, we have a huge announcement with stablecoins, probably this week or next week. I just saw the group was created. So, stablecoin is, at like, and RWA, those narratives right now are some, normal new retail users are, like they're putting more, concentration, like focus, interest into these kind of topics. You can see all these, influencers, whatever people are like talking about. We should have, another circle. We should have, Hong Kong dollar. We should have, Chinese yuan. We should have all this kind of stuff. Like this kind of topics drives people outside of the little circle. For Bitcoin, I think the problem for Bitcoin ecosystem, I think the problem is, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but the problem is the circle is getting smaller. Some people will leave, to other topics, whatever things they're doing. It just like leaves like very, very limited amount of OGs left. To be honest, like the biggest players, biggest supporters of ordinals that I know are no longer in the space. You can like whoever we talked about before, 2 years before. If you check their Twitter, they either don't post anymore or they post something that is not related to Bitcoin. I mean, to Bitcoin ecosystem.
So I agree with that in terms of like the community users, right? And retail users. But it seemed like the builder community's grown, though. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the
So that's
opposite.
like another cycle. So that's like another cycle. So you have to wait for these builders to stay to build for enough time, and then they attract new group of users, or some users who played ordinals before and then rejoin this new revolution. So that's why I say it's not like it's not like a beginning of a new cycle for Bitcoin ecosystem. It's more like like a between ending of last cycle and beginning of next cycle. So it takes more time. But for other narratives like stablecoin, it's already like probably like October of 2023 for ordinals. So it's already like in the going up kind of like line. But for Bitcoin, it's like we are like here and then ruins and then goes down. We're more like here to here. So it's like we still have to be more patient, have more builders, have more cool products, and then we can go up. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So I'm not saying it's dead. I'm just saying it's in a very, very, very painful phase.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, right? I mean, it's you look on crypto Twitter right now. If it wasn't for the doll community, I probably wouldn't see anything on my timeline. Like sometimes like over the weekend, especially on the weekends, I'll go through Twitter and be like, I've seen all these damn posts already. Like there's no new posts ever. But yeah, 100% agree. But I want to jump to the next thing here. So you guys posted a tweet. It says incoming. Merlin's BTC-FI staking vault is launching tomorrow. Get ready to stake your Bitcoin into the first native BTC-FI vault on Merlin. Phase 1, only 50 Bitcoin. That's the cap. Target APR 8 to 21%. Absolutely insanity for Bitcoin. Rewards backed by Bitcoin and plus other major tokens, powered by real yield from DeFi strategies across chain. This is the start of Merlin Layer 2 Bitcoin BitFi journey, and your early vault goes live tomorrow. And then this guy says stake Bitcoin to earn Merl, and then no, stake Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, could you kind of break that down? Because I think that is going to be the most attractive product as well, kind of in this next rise up, if we get it Q4, is this BTC-FI and people actually getting to learn about it, right? So this is Merlin's first product, right? In terms of the BTC staking to earn BTC. But could you talk about like what this program's going to do? And then also, what's the, I guess, details about it in terms of the, only 50 BTC for the phase 1 and those good details.
Yeah, I think we started BTC-FI last year, and we do have lots of products at that time. People are trying, staking BTC and BTC, and then using that Bitcoin to do like solve Babylon, to do cross chains to other chains. I think the first one was like Mode, and then it goes to other chains to farm as well, like Tyco, ZK Sync, all these chains, and also they have Avalon to do staking, and they have Bedrock to do UniBTC staking. So we have lots of products before, but we never officially launched anything related to us, because we thought we have all these products you can do. I bet you guys probably know about those. Like if you have one Bitcoin on Merlin, you can do all these things. But even to professional users, sometimes they get confused, because you don't know which one is better, right? You don't know like I always like introduce all these products to you guys as well, to the audience as well. But these users, they don't have the time to learn every protocol. They don't have the some of them don't have the skills to make sure it's 100% safe, because when you cross your Bitcoin to Sway, which DEX are you going to use? Which lending protocol are you going to use? You have no idea. And very, very limited information out there. You can read their official Twitter, of course, but sometimes you guys know, like we do the shows, you need to dig like really deep into the protocol and to understand what's going on there. So it's really hard for retail users to use. And we have all these data, lots of users try that. Some of them have really high APR, really, really high. If you stake Bitcoin on Merlin, to earn Merl, and then you stake Bitcoin, MBTC in Solve to earn Solve, and then to Babylon. And like when you do all of this, some of them have really, really high APR, over 50%, I would say. Some of them have like really, really low APR. Even, they lose the money because, if you got hacked, like even like without talking about getting hacked, if your Bitcoin bridge there, it costs gas fee and bridge fee, and you put that in the DEX and put that in the lending. Sometimes it costs you fee as well. And if you don't earn anything when you bridge back, you bridge there 1 Bitcoin, probably you'll get like a 1% or 2% less when it comes back. So some of the users, I would say most of the users don't really have a clue about this, and they just lose their money. And that's why we think we should do like a vaulting. That's why something we're going to try. So you put that BTC in the vault, and there's going to be professional teams to use that vault to do something like really, really safe, but also can make sure you get all this new like information. Because like when we do farming, for example, when we do farming on Core and Tyco last year, the first batch has really, really high APR, but the third batch, fourth batch, the APR was much lower, because like nobody can give free cash every day. And that's why I think the vaulting will be much easier for users to understand, because you don't need to do anything. You don't need to worry about the bridge. You don't need to worry about DEX or lending. You just need to make sure you're the ones in the vault.
Gotcha. So what determines the range of the 8 to 21% APR?
Yeah, because nothing we can say there to be sure, because sometimes if the market was much better in Q3, the APR can be much higher. The APR can be even higher than 20%, 30%. But if the market was down, we still have some strategies, like I said, using Bitcoin to have stable coins there, and using stable coins to do some, like there are like millions of traders and the funding rates, farming firm to do this kind of, yield farming using stable coin. And the stable coin farming yield is kind of stable. So I think the lowest it can get is probably, 5 to 6%, but we'll make sure, we will, we'll just give more to make sure it gets 8%. So if we do have like 5%, our treasury will make sure it tops up to 8%. But if the market is better, it can go much higher than that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that minimum is basically 8%, and the top max is 21%. And on average, basically what you're saying is they'll never go below that minimum or higher than that top. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like we cannot say like 8 to 100%, right? So
yeah.
100% is more like a very optimistic, very like wishful thinking kind of APR. But that is something we have done last year, so I'm pretty confident about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 100%. And it says phase 1 cap only 50 Bitcoin. Is this the first set of this? Are you going to continue this maybe down the line, or is this a one shot thing?
We're not sure yet. Okay. We just want to make sure the first vault not to be too big, because if we are doing like 50K Bitcoin, the APR will be much lower. That's just what happens in the financial world. So we want to do like a small amount for retail users. We don't want whales, to take 100% of that, of course. But if that 50 Bitcoin cap is filled, like in minutes or hours, we'll consider, to open a bit more, but not crazy anymore. Probably 50 more or 100 more. Not gonna do like 1K Bitcoin, because with 1K Bitcoin the pressure is much higher.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean 50 Bitcoin. That's what's that? $5 million, right? So it's a lot of money that comes in. And you guys are going to be potentially staking that as well. So yeah, this is really awesome. I don't think I've ever seen Bitcoin yield this high, like ever. So
yeah. And there was a question by Stan, which is part of the community, saying, is there conditional locking terms for the BTC staking?
Good
Yeah,
question.
of course. Yeah, because it's like a vault. So if you're doing so first we still have MBTC, right? We still have the bridge to go to. I think right now it's like 22 plus chains and over 50 different DeFi protocols. Whitelist DeFi protocols. Actually, if you use like different protocols, like on Ethereum, you can use like 1 million DeFi protocols. But anyway, that gate is always open, so you can use your Bitcoin to do that. And like I said, some people have higher yields, some people have lower yields. That bridge is always open. But for the vault, it's more like we have to make sure those Bitcoin goes to certain specific chains and protocols. So we have confidence, we have security checks, and make sure the yields comes back. Because when we talk about BTC-Fi yields, this yields doesn't generate on daily basis. Sometimes it generates on monthly basis or even quarterly basis. Because like Babylon, you wait like 6 months to get your Babylon token. Like Solve, you wait for like 9 months to get your Solve token. So we are trying to find like a middle ground. We don't want users to wait for like 12 months to get the yields. That's just crazy. But to be honest, that's just something you need to do. Like Merl is like, I think Merl is like legend because we give like the yields back like in 3 months. We launched in February. The token was launched in April, so it's like 2 months. So basically, after 2 months, you get all your assets back, and you get like a 60% APR by having Merl. Anyway, so we are not sure of all these protocols, like how much time we need to wait to get the yields back. So we kind of find the middle ground, like okay, 3 months, around 3 months. So for 3 months, you cannot move the Bitcoin, of course, because your Bitcoin is already staked or put in LPs on other chains DEX. And after 3 months, we'll try our best to get the yields back, and of course to deliver your Bitcoin back. So that is something like I think that's like the best middle ground we can find.
Gotcha. So all those terms will be announced tomorrow once it goes live, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. That's exciting for sure, because it's kind of the starting journey of doing it directly on Merlin, and I'm excited for that for sure. Everybody wants to be able to earn more Bitcoin with their Bitcoin. Let's talk about some other updates. I believe you guys have a new version coming up, right? Of the chain itself.
Yeah. So when we launched the mainnet last year, we were using the Polygon CDK rollups fork 5. And then we gradually upgraded the network, from 5 to 6, I think in March, and then 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. I think 8 to 9 was down this year. So after the fork 8 to version 9 update, the transfer, the trading using Bitcoin wallets is much cheaper and faster. But the biggest update, I think this week we're going to have our biggest update is from version 9 to version 12. So after we upgraded the network to version 12, the TPS will be much higher. It will be like 10 times, 20 times higher. And you're basically going to have a chain that has similar efficiency like Aptos, TSRY, Ethereum. I mean, not BNB chain. BNB chain is so fast. Not Solana. Solana is so fast. It's still a long way there. But you're going to have a like Merlin chain efficiency like most layer 1 and layer 2s. And I think that's a very big upgrade. Even though today we don't see many like meme trading or on-chain activities on most chains, but I think most chains, the builders are preparing if we have a great bull run in the second half year, we have to make sure everything is stable, everything could be faster. Because like I remember when we do the like when we had the BTC farm memes, like the party, the launch, the first launch was still kind of lagging. The token transferring still takes like 1 to 2 hours. But after these upgrades, all of this will be solved.
Yeah, that's huge, 100%. I mean, that upgrade is game changing for you guys. 9 to 12. I mean, you guys skipped a few steps there, 100%. I guess my next question is related to the Merlin Wizard here. So if anyone doesn't know, if you go here, you click agent, it'll take you to the Merlin Wizard. Are you guys getting a lot of usage on this, or are people kind of messing around and kind of using the wizard?
Yeah, I think right now it just becomes like a AI customer service, which is funny. But yeah, I think some people like on daily basis, there are users using that because they want to do this or that. They have no idea. Like, when we have the BTC-staking, if you don't know about this, if you don't watch this show, you probably don't have many details, but you can use that, to catch up with the news. And so right now, I think it's just like a customer service. I think, what we want to do with the wizard is, a cross-chain, multi-chain, and a multi-protocol kind of service. And the problem right now is just people don't want to be on chain. People don't really do things like when you check the pump fund, like very rare, very rare. Like very few tokens can actually can go to the trading phase and have volume. So for the wizard, we are like what we did with the chain. We are preparing to implementing all these infras and SDKs that we can, and to hopefully wait for the program. So right now we're working on the multi-chain. We have already integrated with Particle SDK that allows you to deposit any tokens. So if you have BNB on BNB chain, if you have Bitcoin on Merlin, if you have Ethereum on Base, you can use that assets to trade all kinds of tokens. And if you want to check different, I actually can show the demo probably sometime next week or next week. You can just ask him, what's the most active trading token on Solana, and it will give you like top 5. And when you ask, what is the holder change for that token, which that token is on Solana or BNB chain, the AI will give you what's happening there, why people are trading, and what's the biggest holder. So we are trying to integrate all this data information from different chains, which takes time. So when we done with all this kind of implementation and all this data and cross-chain trading module, and I think we're pretty prepared. But still, it doesn't really matter if you're prepared or not. It matters, when the win comes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just glad that you guys are, getting prepared for the AI integration part. You guys have already integrated it, but not every chain is doing it. They're starting to catch on and stuff, so that's good for you guys. But is there anything else that you got coming up? We went over quite a few things just now, and those are pretty big updates, but I don't know if we left anything out.
Yeah, I think for this week probably that's it, and we can wait for the announcement for the BTC 5 Vault tomorrow, and probably Thursday or Friday. The network will be under maintenance for like a day, because from 9 to 12 is like we didn't skip. We just upgrade 9 to 10 first, and 10 to 11, and 11 to 12, and then open up the network. So it takes a longer time.
Gotcha.
Probably under 24 hours, but we'll see. And but when the network is reopen, you can people don't feel it's from 9 to 10, 10 to 11. It's like 9 to 12. So that's, I think, lots of things happening. So that's like the two biggest things for this week.
Love it. And you did get a shout out from Jonathan Mitchell. Shout out to Jeff. So you have a fan there, but appreciate you, Jeff. Would love to I guess maybe the final last words for the audience, maybe something to focus on in terms of the market.
Yep.
And cool. I think I worded that wrong. All right, Jeff. Well, we appreciate your time, sir, and we will talk to you soon.
Cool. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man. Yeah, man, absolutely awesome as always. It's great having Jeff on. I mean, it's very rare the CEO, the top guy from a chain, is talking to you guys every single week, every single Monday. He is here breaking down what is happening with Merlin and everything. So shout out to Jeff and Merlin chain.
Absolutely. Yeah. And constantly, it's like, when the markets are good or bad, it doesn't matter. Especially I noticed for the past, 6 months with them is like, let's build, let's do what we can, partner with the most known brands in the space, this type of movement, which is very important whenever things are maybe slow, and so you got to keep building no matter what. And that's what we've seen so far.
100%, man. He did mention, stable coins, and that's like the biggest thing happening in China. And we do have a lot of stablecoin news to get into. So Wyoming Stable Token Commission targets August 20th for WYST stablecoin mainnet launch. Wyoming is potentially getting in the ring with Circle I mean, having this is a state stable coin. I mean, this is huge. Potentially, if Circle is at $62 billion, how much revenue do you think this could bring the state of Wyoming?
It could be big. It could be big, right? We're gonna see, them launching a stable coin though. They're gonna obviously have to have a lot of capital behind it to make it strong. You know what I mean? And but I imagine they wouldn't do this unless they had that planned, right?
Well,
But
you don't really need a lot of capital because every dollar that comes in is one WYST, right? So you can start off with $10 of your stable coin if you wanted to.
yeah, but I mean,
they don't need to add liquidity pools or anything.
you wouldn't want to start like you would want to start it with like a good amount of collateral, I would imagine. But we'll see how they approach this, right? And then also we're gonna see how the Genius Act is going to affect people that launch stable coins and what that's gonna look like. It's a new game that we're in, with the stable coin market, but I think it's gonna be huge. I think it's gonna be big.
Yeah, this is cool because I think in Wyoming you should be able to go to your employer and say, hey, instead of paying me in dollars to my bank, can you pay me in WYST to my wallet? Here's my wallet address, right? I think that this is definitely possible now because it's a state of Wyoming, right? Like, I mean, it's the same thing. They're saying, hey, 1-to-1. And, let's just say they start off, it's like, hey, anybody who wants the WST stablecoin, it's here. You guys can have it. We will always back it 1-to-1 with $1. If you want to go back into dollars, we'll send $1 to your account. You give us stablecoin, and there's tiny fee is how they make their money, right? So I think this is the most bullish thing that has ever happened to crypto ever.
Yeah. Stan has a question here. He says, was Cardano able to muscle their way into the Wyoming stablecoin tech? I know that I heard something about them trying to do that, but I'm not sure. I imagine they would probably use something that's everybody's familiar with, EVM tech stack. But
yeah, I'm curious what chain are they using? Like,
they need to create their own stablecoin first.
Yeah,
100%. Before they can create one for another entity.
But I know what people are going to do. You're going to see billions of dollars go into the stablecoin, and what they're going to do is they're going to put it up against USDC in a stable pool. You can't lose on a stable pool, and especially if this is a state-ran stablecoin, and that's USDC, which is a $64 billion, stock market problem. I mean, that's the safest stablecoin pool you could ever possibly imagine, right? And then this does open up now that Texas has opened up, a Bitcoin reserve. I mean, a Texas stablecoin is next, right?
I mean, possibly, right? I think the biggest thing is like how are you going to incentivize like employers to switch over, right? Like, what are you going to do for them to switch?
No, it'll be each employee, right? I mean, that's all. But if you have enough demand by your employees, you switch. If you don't, then you don't.
Yeah, I guess. But like, is there any benefit for the employer? Other than making the employees happy.
Well, I mean that's just kind of what it is. It's like it's something you can put on there. Hey, we offer stablecoin. It's just something. Another reason to bring in new employees, right? It's a way to if I saw that, I'm jumping on board. I get paid in stablecoin. Hell yeah, because also, it opens up a bigger door as well. Now I don't have to go to a bank. I don't need to use a bank now. Potentially, my debit card is going to be linked to my wallet, and we've seen already a couple companies doing this where I can just swipe away.
Yeah. Also, I mean, other than convenience, there's probably going to have to be some products too that, entice the employees as well. But I bet you there will be, like you said, some sort of, staking mechanism to the one thing that's going to be, we need more clarity because we haven't gone through the Genius Act and everything. But like, I know one of the things that the banks wanted to make sure was that like the stablecoin issuers could not give yield to their users or whatever, so they're gonna have to work ways around that, like partner with other like maybe like third party companies or something that will distribute that. It's gonna be interesting because it's also exciting too though, because there's gonna be new products.
I just mentioned the number one yield generator is LP pools, right? So if you have so how an LP works, you lock up half Wyoming stablecoin, half a USDC, and everyone going into USDC or going into Wyoming, that they're taking a small percentage of that and giving that to the people who provide the LP. So potentially, I mean, you might be able to get 7, 8, 9% depending on how much volume there is from just staking two stablecoins together, right? And that's not even staking; you're just adding liquidity. And I think you're going to see massive amount of that. And then you could see third parties just taking advantage of that, saying, hey, just, come to our website, stake your Wyoming coin. And then what they'll do is they'll sell half of that for USDC and put it in a pool.
Well,
and then
they
when
would
you're
have
ready
to do
go,
that. They would have to use a third-party issuer because they couldn't do
not
it
an
themselves.
issuer, you're using a decentralized Uniswap. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're using a pool.
Yeah. So the user would probably have to manually do it themselves or whatever.
No, the user can come to your site and basically stake the coins. You receive those coins. You sell half for USDC and then you lock it in.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the Wyoming Stablecoin Commission could not be the ones that would be issuing yield at all ever, because they're the ones who issued the stablecoin in general, launched it, right?
Well, all they want is the fees, right? They want the fees from dollar stablecoin back to dollar, and everything else you do with that stablecoin, that's up to you. But moving along here, so FizzEarth to launch FIUSD stablecoin, a digital asset platform, year-end partnering with Circle, Paxos, Solana to enable token payments across 10K banks and 6 merchants. So I looked into what this is. FizzEarth is a Fortune 500 fintech giant powering 90 billion transactions yearly, 10,000 banks, 6 million merchants with core banking, payments, and commerce tech. So this is a Strike competitor now launching their own stablecoin here. This is massive in the sense of what this company possibly do with a stablecoin. Think about that, dude. 90 billion transactions yearly, 10,000 banks, and 6 million merchants.
Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. This is the transition, right? This is the transition over to the new financial system, and it's crazy because like it's happening with like the ones that we see in the headlines, but some of these other companies haven't transitioned over yet. But again, I always bring it back to the media companies in the early 2000s that were against the internet. The ones that said, okay, I'm not going to fight this anymore, I'm going to go along. They're the ones who survived, that ended up, not having to sell out or sell off their company and stuff like that. And so the earlier adopters of what we're doing here are going to be the ones that win. And that's just point blank. And it's simple. Business 101. You can't stop innovation. And I think crypto is going to actually be one of the best cases for that in the future, looking back and saying, because like the one I use is good, but this one's even like had the most resistance. The banking institutions, which money has power, right? And they tried to kill it and they couldn't. So this is a company that I think is going to thrive because they're on board.
Yeah, 100%. And the FIUSD, I mean, another stable coin. I mean, we're going to see hundreds of these, dude. Which again, it's really this is how Ethereum is going to get $1 trillion in TVL, because you're going to see this coin in an LP pool backed with USDC, backed with Tether, backed with the Wyoming coin. Because what that's going to do, it's going to allow you to get in and out of any coin you possibly want to, any stable coin, and it's also going to allow potentially people to go into these pools, and you can pay with whatever you want, because in the back end we're getting the stable coin that we want, so it doesn't matter. So it's going to be really cool to see, 100%. Moving along here, a dormant wallet with 300 Bitcoin was reactivated after 11.6 years when the coins were last worth 60,000. So he paid 60K for these coins for 300 Bitcoin. Now it's worth $30 million. So I'm actually seeing this a lot, and I've been looking into this. What some of these geniuses have done is they let's just say they had 1,000 Bitcoin in a bunch of different wallets. They would lock 300 Bitcoin up for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and these just unlocked. So this wallet was dormant because the guy was genius and locked himself out. He shizzy proofed his wallet here for 11 years. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of wallets that are dormant for 15, 20 years, because they weren't able to touch them. They're using Bitcoin's time locking, block locking technology, where you can lock it to a certain block height, and there's no way to undo that. You have to wait until that block height for that. So if, let's just say you're worried about getting hacked and you have you do not want to sell this at all, I mean, you can lock up 0.1 for 10 years and see what that's worth in 10 years. I mean, these are some geniuses or they just truly believed in Bitcoin. Just say, hey, I have 10,000 Bitcoin. I bought it for one pizza, right? And now I'm going to lock up 300. I'm going to have it unlocking every few years.
Yeah. I mean, They probably feel really good now, right?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that people were using that back then too. You know,
Yeah,
the time locks.
There's earliest time lock was 2010. People think that was Satoshi. So I mean, a different wallet than anything he's used, but yeah, they think he's
Okay.
he's
I was
locked
about
up
to
some
say
Bitcoin.
the
Because at the time there was like 6 or 7 miners, right? It could have been any of those 6 or 7 miners. Hal Finney, Satoshi is 2 of the 6, right? Back in like early 2020, 2010, 2009, or I'm sorry, in early 2009, and then potentially there was some locking in 2010, 2011, and so on and so on. But moving along here, Kraken Exchange, they posted a tweet this morning. It says, got a special announcements this week. Got a few special announcements this week. MBD. What did we say that was? I can't remember. Not.
No.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I just looked at it on
not
Twitter.
bad. No big deal. No big deal.
No big deal. Yeah. So, and then they posted a tweet on Saturday. The intern has been chained to his desk until dog is listed. Share your best crypto memes to help keep him entertained. So they did post the tweet there, and I cannot find it now. Kraken, here it is right here. So there was some really, really funny stuff here. So they said, you know, until a dog is listed, and then the dog, this guy, that's the Kraken intern, and a lot of really funny stuff in here. But Kraken, dude, I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. An exchange teasing one token as much as they had, and then announcing today that there is some big announcements that is coming. What do you think, man? Do you think the dog gets listed this week?
Some people think so. Some people think this is the week, right? You know, the thing about Kraken is they actually launched or listed SNEC, which was the meme coin on Cardano. And we were talking to some Cardano builders earlier, and they said that like the promotion wasn't even close to what like they're doing with Dog. They said that like they're bullish on this because every like C-suite executive of Kraken is posting about Dog. You know what I mean? And like it's just they're like one of the dog army people. You know what I mean? They're crazy about it. Obviously, if Dog does well whenever they list it, it benefits them and they get a big community. But it's almost kind of like they believe in the whole movement, and we'll see what happens here. But if it does get listed this week too, though, I would say, look, if the market cap doesn't shoot up $100 million right away, don't freak out. You know, just like remember where we are right now in this cycle, and the benefits will come for being on Kraken eventually, you know, if it doesn't happen right away. But it's exciting the fact that Kraken is just so supportive of Dog and the dog community.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with you. If it doesn't shoot up to, you know, $1 billion a week after, like you can't really expect that, right? But what this does is this puts a buy button in front of people who don't have a buy button right now, people who don't know how to use exchanges, they don't know how to use wallets, right? But let's just say, you know, if you can explain to them, hey, all you need to do is go to Kraken, you know, on your app, download the app, and then add some money there, and then you just buy Dog. It's a lot easier than being like, well, you need to download an X first, go to Cash App, send that Bitcoin from Cash App to your. It just makes it a lot easier for a lot of different people. And on top of that, this really kind of has a lot of other people look. I mean, look at this, dude. 200 for that other tweet, it was like 250,000 views. It's absolutely insane. I think it's right here. Yeah, 254,000 views. I mean, and Kraken wants to go public, right? So they want this. This looks so good to potential investors and for their IPO.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're obviously, you know, happy with the engagement they've been getting and stuff with this, right? And we'll see, you know, how this continues, right? Imagine like we go into this bullish time period. I imagine they'll continue like the bull posting in terms of like at least like the community engagement, right? And like how awesome is that if that's the case? Because then like as the market goes up, the number goes up, I would imagine for Dog. We'll see what happens in real time. And then also other exchanges start to get attracted to it. We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of other exchanges, OKX crypto exchange considers US IPO following April relaunch. So they just April. If you're an American citizen now you have access to OKX. You can go there and you can sign up and you can deposit money or whatever, just like how you normally exchanges. But they don't have. You're not getting the full OKX experience. You're not getting all the tokens that OKX gives you. You're kind of getting OKX.US, right? And in that sense of, potentially this IPO could be huge for them. Do you think OKX, one, do they go public here? And two, do you think it's a successful IPO?
I think it would probably be pretty successful, because this industry is becoming more accepted by TradFi, right? And so, they're probably looking for good opportunities to get invested in, right, for long term. And OKX going public, they're going to have to, follow some regulations and, rules and stuff like that makes the investor feel safe. And so I imagine like they'll probably do pretty well with this. Any exchange, centralized exchange that's going to be a tier 1 that takes this route, I think that they're going to have success as long as they can kind of show and the regulators that, hey, look, we're here to stay. We're here to build our platform and, comply to what you have for us to comply with, right? And now I think most of them will do well.
Yeah, 100%. There's rumors that OKX is going to do an IPO. Kraken, we already kind of talked about doing an IPO. Gemini, Crypto.com, and there was that one. I forget that one. We talked about it. eToro, all potentially going public in the next 6 months here this year. So right now the only crypto exchange that is live on the stock market is Coinbase. And potentially we're going to see 6 Coinbase competitors hit the market. Let me ask you, is this bullish or bearish for the coin, the coin stock? But like with all these competitors coming online, I'm actually in the camp to say this is bullish for Coinbase.
For Coinbase's stock?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll be looked at as like the strongest and the most established. And but I think about it kind of similar to like the banks that are public, right?
Yeah.
You have like JP Morgan, Bank of America, I believe might be, but you have multiple Citi, all these other ones that now it's kind of like these tier 1 exchanges kind of turn to do this. Like, we'll see how it goes, but it will give them a lot more, I believe, like foundation. Right. If they, because especially if institutions start to pour into them too, you're going to look at, not being as shaky, it's being more, if there's like a liquidity issue or any insolvency issue or anything like that, I think it's going to be way better addressed than previous cycles, if they're not public, because they have to kind of figure it out on the run. Like FTX tried to at the last second, just didn't have a solution. So I think it's probably better for the overall space if more of these centralized exchanges that are worth going IPO route. You know what I mean? Like they have to show that they have strength, liquidity, capital, like all that stuff, and follow the guidelines and stuff.
100%. This is the best thing to happen to crypto is every crypto exchange does an IPO, because then we could see in the books. As an investor, you are allowed to see in the books every quarter. We got to see how much they made. We got to see, we'll be able to see the liquidations, you know what I mean? And that type of stuff from Kraken, from OKX, and we can kind of see how much money they're actually making. This is the best thing to happen to crypto, in my opinion, have every exchange IPO, because then, every quarter, we have an earnings report. We have an earnings meeting. We can kind of see, and maybe if you're smart, you can kind of get a glimpse of the future by kind of hearing and listening and paying attention to what they're saying during these earning reports.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Trump Media, DJT, authorizes 400 million stock buyback, fully separate from its $2.3 billion Bitcoin treasury, which remains unchanged. So they got like $3 billion. They got funded or something, but that was all supposed to go into Bitcoin. But then they went and they bought $400 million of stock buybacks. I don't know. I don't like this at all. It feels like they're always just changing their mind here. They haven't bought the Bitcoin yet, from what my understanding either.
They might have been getting a lot of complaints from the DJT board and like their investors and stuff like that, you know, because I don't think that stock was that healthy recently. Just probably a business strategy here. We'll see if they continue it though.
And the last thing here, Magic Internet Money, MIM on Bitcoin, our official MagicSwap website is live. So let's check it out. So this happened just a few minutes ago. If you go to magicswap.app, you actually get a DEX here. But if you look a little further, powered by DotSwap Nexus. So this is just a front end to DotSwap's back end here. So they're just using basically DotSwap. I mean, it looks, I mean, if you go to DotSwap, it looks exactly the same. They seriously just copied and pasted everything here. But if you wanted to buy, you know, pretty much anything on DotSwap, you can do it here. I don't know why you would use this. Why wouldn't you just go? This is equivalent to like someone making a front end for Uniswap, right? I don't know. What do you think of this?
I think actually it's not bad move. I think it's you know, marketing, branding. Plus they can earn some fee cut. I'm sure they get like a small like sliver of it. You know, good way to onboard people. You know, that is trying to like get into the Bitcoin ecosystem or Runes ecosystem. Because maybe people like this, I don't know, are wanting to get into the Magic Internet Money community or whatever. Actually, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if like Billy does this or other communities do it as well.
Yeah, man, you can kind of see the volume and everything, but this is all coming from DotSwap itself, right? So, but yeah, I mean, it's just funny to me that this is an actual cutout of DotSwap's website, right? Like it looks exact. It's the same everything except that.
Well, the aesthetics they changed.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just saying it's just
and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, they did add the font. You're right. So they did add a new font there. I hate the font, by the way, but yeah, they definitely did add their own little teaser to it. But yeah, I mean, you're probably going to see this more and more often. But you know, potentially Sats terminal competitors as well, right? Because they're aggregating from DotSwap. Well, that's the thing though, is Sats terminal. This is saying powered by DotSwap completely. Sats terminal actually goes Magic Eden, DotSwap, Runes Dex, and every other Dex that pops on. So. Yep. But that is our show for you guys today. 352 people on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Twitch, Kick, Rumble, Abstract, and Spotify. Later, we'll be uploading a video over there later. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today.
Absolutely, guys. We appreciate you guys. Without you guys, we could not do this, and we appreciate it so much. And if you could check out our partners, that would be great, as they support us as well to allow us to do this Monday through Friday, right? So Sats Terminal is the aggregator DEX swap for the Bitcoin ecosystem. We just talked about them a little bit. If you go to satsterminal.com, you can swap for all the top runes right there. You can see the ticker at the top that shows you the hot runes. Dog Go to the Moon, all of them. Billion Dollar Cat, Magic Internet Money, Liquidium, all of them there. If you connect your wallet for the first time, you can earn 1,000 Amber points. And then if you go and follow their X, you can learn about their Amber is Forever campaign, to where you can have multipliers to earn as much Amber as you can. And we think that's going to be important, because that's going to go towards a give back to the early adopters, kind of alpha for Sats Terminal here. But you can also swap for alkanes, as they support alkanes on their platform as well, right? The popular ones, the Mist, what else is there? Methane, I believe, is another one. Diesel. So go check it out, guys. Satsterminal.com. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is a Bitcoin wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets in their Blitz markets. Their Blitz markets are a 10-minute countdown of where you can select either Bitcoin, BNB, or Solana, and pick a price point that you believe is going to go down or up from that price point, right? And then an additional 10 minutes to see if you were correct or wrong about that, right? So in the future, they're going to have awesome features to where you can create your own markets and earn 1.5% of the total volume there, and also a refer a friend to where you can earn 1%. We are able to see under the hood as we meet with this team every week, guys, and they have some amazing features coming. So head over to betbtc.win, get set up, get familiar with the platform, and you're going to be able to earn kind of points as well in the future by using it. And then Emblem Vault is the interoperability tooling for the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to jump your ordinals from a Bitcoin layer 1 to Ethereum right now, you can do so with the Taproot Wizards, as they already activated that jump feature from Bitcoin to ETH. And so you can take your Taproot Wizard over, and you can actually take over Rare Pepes as well. And you can, lend against them, or borrow against them, I should say, with the Gandhi platform there. But they're going to make this accessible for Abstract, Base, Merlin, eventually Solana as well. You're going to be able to utilize their AI agent Hustle, which is their AI tool, or a product, I should say, that's going to be able to vault your ordinals and then take it over to the other ecosystems for you. But right now, you can use Hustle to help you through the trenches of Solana. Hustles, you can use them to say, hey, find me a safe 5x token in the Solana ecosystem, and he'll bring back 3, 4, 5 options for you guys, kind of break down the summaries of why he selected them. And then there's going to be the conditional trading options, which I'm really excited about. You can kind of tell Hustle, hey, buy Solana when it drops 20% from the current price, and then exit when it increases by 50% from that price. And it can do it for you. You can go to the grocery store, go to the gym, whatever. It'll handle it for you in the back end there. But don't forget, also, they have a TGE for their Bitcoin Rune that's going to be happening in September/October timeframe. You can participate in a pre-sale environment for that right now at OpenSea. If you search Founder Vault Keys, you can purchase one of the NFTs, and then once it gets close to the TGE, they're going to give you instructions on how to get those runes into your Bitcoin wallet. Super exciting. Go visit emblem.vision to learn all about all these products I talked about, and you can actually learn more about the team as well there. And then Artura.finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungibles like Dog Go to the Moon, $1 Billion Cat, Ordi, Sats, etc. You're going to be able to trade traditional tokens outside the ecosystem as well, XRP, Tau, Ethereum. But if you're not a trader, you can actually participate and earn passively through their staking vaults there. You can add liquidity there. Also, make sure you follow them on X and go to our YouTube channel. You can find some, of their community experienced traders that give you guys tips in there. But I would say head over to their Discord, join their Discord, because they also have experienced traders in there giving tips out to new traders. Head over to Artura.finance today. And then Fluid Tokens is the UTXO wizard devs of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They started off on Cardano, still building there, but they also started building on Bitcoin. They were the first to offer staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1. They have created 2 Dog Go to the Moon staking vaults, so Season 1 and Season 2, but they are over. If you did stake in Season 2, make sure you claim your rewards. You can go do that right now. You'll get your original staked tokens with the rewards in one transaction. And then they'll have Season 3 for staking for Dog starting, I believe, at the end of July or early August. So exciting that they offer that, staking vault for the Dog army there. But if you are a founder, you can actually utilize their airdrop tool. So you can airdrop runes to your community. It's really efficient. You can either use a CSV file that has already the address is pre-propagated on there. You just upload it, or you can do it manually one by one. It's really cost efficient and it's pretty quick. I've used it in the past as we had to test it out for them. And then if you want a staking vault, you can head over to their Discord and let them know that you have an established community and you want to get a staking vault set up for them. So on the Cardano side, if you want to participate in the Aquarium platform, you can do so by participating there, and you can earn Babel fees. So that's pretty exciting for the Cardano community there. Head over to fluidtokens.com to learn all about both sides and what products they offer for both ecosystems. And then Tokyo Wallet is the multi-chain smart wallet for both the Cardano and Bitcoin ecosystem, and soon to be other ecosystems. This team is building for the best UI UX that users can experience, right? So if you have an iPhone, head over to the Apple App Store, download the app there. If you have an Android, head over to Google Play and download it there. You can also find like an alpha section where you'll find our videos on their app there, but you can trade directly in the app for Bitcoin runes as they partnered with Sats Terminal, or on the Cardano side, you can trade directly for Cardano tokens as they have partnered with the aggregator over there. Like I said, they're going to be consistently building out for a better user experience. So expect other ecosystems, tech stacks to be available with Tokyo Tokyo wallet. But head over to Tokyo.io to dive into their docs and join their community today. And then Merlin Chain, we just talked about them with Jeff. They are uniting Bitcoin strength with the power of AI. Right now, you can go over to merlinchain.io and play with their AI. Their AI is at the version 0.3. And so what you can do with the wizard is you can actually have him, do DeFi functions on your behalf, right? Swapping and staking. But speaking of staking, if you want to participate in keeping the chain secure, you can actually go back to merlinchain.io and click on the staking tab. And there's 2 different options. So this is for staking Merl. We talked about on the show today, you can stake BTC soon, but this is for staking Merl. And there's the flexible option, which is a day-to-day. It does take 7 days to withdraw your Merl tokens back to you, but you can withdraw the rewards on a day-to-day there. You earn 15% on that day-to-day staking. And then there's the bonded. That's a 6-month lockup period. You earn 45% APR there, but you also can withdraw the rewards with that 6-month program there. And then tomorrow they will announce the BTC staking, which is really exciting. If you're interested in that, remember to follow their X account and so you're updated on when it goes live, because they're going to have a 50 Bitcoin cap with that. But head over to merlinchain.io today, dive into their docs as well, and join their community through their Discord. And don't forget about our integrated partners in Jungle, formerly Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, as well as their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker. And they have onboarded Bitcoin Derby, which is a horse racing game as well. And they are working on a launchpad for game developers. So if you don't have the developer skills, they're going to have a product that's going to be ready in the near future for people that want to launch their own game. You can use their templates and all that great stuff there. And don't forget also, Ordinal Hive is the aggregator Ordinal marketplace. So something similar to Stats Terminal, but Ordinals, you're going to find the cheapest Ordinals around at Ordinal Hive. And make sure you check out their trader tools as well, as they have really great resources for that.
Yep. Great job, man. We did a couple comments while you were speaking. So Stan says, does Merlin Chain have a mobile app? I think you can go to it with your phone. I'm not 100% sure. If you go to your MetaMask and then go to merlinchain.io, it's basically the same thing, right? So you can do everything in your MetaMask with Merlin Chain. Hydrosapien says on chain. Yes, sir. Jonathan Mitchell, 100 Hydrosapien. Thanks for the great show. Thank you guys for watching. Malam Yuri, same thing. Great. Thank you guys are the reason why we do this every single day. Thank you so much for being here, especially at the end here. But if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you feel like you need to catch up, this is a great place to catch up, guys. So many articles, so many really cool things over the course of the years. And you can kind of get a mindset of like what was happening during these times, because everything is right there for you guys. And if you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend Nord. Is my personal favorite. I do not go to any website without my VPN being on. It is stupid too, because you actually give them your IP address, which then can lead them to your actual address. As Bitcoiners, we do not want that. We don't want anyone to know where we live or where we keep our Bitcoin. Do not do it, guys. Get a VPN there. And if there's ever a site that geo-blocks you, having a VPN on and putting it to somewhere like Italy or El Salvador or Switzerland or anywhere else will actually get you past that and allow you to use that site. It is not your country that is blocking you. It is the site itself. They're just trying to protect themselves from potential, implications of stuff like that. But as a user, you can actually go around that. There's no big deal. Get a VPN today. And if you go to our store here, OnChain Revolution, click the top there. It'll take you to our Shopify, our third party we use for this, guys. We do not see any of your stuff here, your address or anything like that. But if you guys want hats, shirts, jackets, and so much more, guys, check it all out here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until then,
peace.
OnChain Revolution. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. You're not bullish enough. Fear and greed got me bad. Now we averaging the tokens and the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages, you know how crazy we are. Chain of track.